Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Good Lord, it's cold. We'll give you some more weather updates coming up with the weather legend around here. Brad Barton himself, chief meteorologist for WBAP, is going to be on in about 20 minutes. So we'll let you know, yeah, it's cold out there, but is this the worst of it? How long are we going to be below freezing? How long till it's back to normal? These are all questions I want answers to. And yeah, we got the text just a little bit ago. Soccer practice is canceled for tomorrow, at least. So for those of you on my second son's soccer team, a little update for you guys. Dude, I would not want to, it's 27 right now, according to my phone. I would not want to play soccer, much less soccer practice, 27-degree weather. I remember we played a game over in Paris. Again, the third Paris reference this show. The real one, not the cheap copy in France, the one over in East Texas. I played a game when it was 38 degrees and raining, and that was the most miserable experience of my life, physically speaking. You know, family members dying, of course, that's worse. But we're keeping an eye on the weather until it gets back to normal, and then we'll just focus on the news and fun stuff. But for this segment, we are getting some news and fun stuff. You know, have you heard the saying, the left can't meme? You know, one of the impressive things about what you see with the comedy that is floating around online is that it went from the online space being so good for Team Blue, and they got on it before the Republicans did. And that's one of the things that gets a lot of credit for Obama's quick giant rise, is the fact that this dude took advantage of that while the Republicans were still trying to figure out what the heck's going on. Well, now I think that space has flipped, and partially because, you know, wokeism put so many constraints and offenses to otherwise fun, funny things that the rest of us enjoy, that it's really hard to be funny in that space unless you're just being mean toward your perceived political enemies. So let me give you an example here. I'm going to play you a sarcastic video of the opposite. First, I'm going to play you some people from Team Blue making a montage, acting like they're MAGA supporters, and then sarcastically saying things that they think they believe in order to point out the absurdity of their political opposition. All right, so here's the first one. This is Team Blue mocking MAGA.
I don't mind if groceries are going to be more expensive, because that means groceries are going to be more expensive for the libs. Take that, libs.
I'm happy for Elon to have access to the Treasury, because when I said I don't want foreigners messing with our country, I didn't mean white guys.
I'm thrilled we're finally feuding with Canada. I've wanted them to be a U.S. territory for days now. Ever since Donald Trump suggested it, I can't get it out of my head.
I don't care if my taxes are going to be higher, as long as taxes are lower for billionaires. They are the true patriots.
I can't wait to abolish the Department of Education. I didn't get an education, and I turned out great.
We're just dumb and racist and stupid and uneducated and duplicitous and all that dumb stuff. Okay, let me play the opposite here. This is, in fact, Elon Musk had retweeted it, is where I found it. This is a Team Red woman pretending to be a Team Blue woman, saying things that they believe in a sarcastic manner in an attempt to highlight the absurdity of her political opposition. Now, she's clearly a woman. She's not wearing any makeup, and she has a ball cap on and a baggy hooded sweatshirt. So she's kind of dressed tomboyish, which factors into the video. I'm not just saying that for fun. But which one do you think is more effective, more funny, more over the target?
You know, I actually wish that the government would extort us more. My name is Beck. My pronouns are they, them, and Elon is he's a threat to democracy. You know, I'm concerned. It is in the nation's best interest to continue being extorted by the government through taxation, and it is frankly none of our business where they're spending that money. I saw a report that Elon found $4.7 trillion of untraceable spending from the Treasury Department. Who does he think he is? It is none of our business. You don't understand. Government transparency is a threat to democracy. $2.7 trillion in improper Medicare and Medicaid payments? No. Our healthcare system is literally perfect. They said that they found 20 million Americans over the age of 100 receiving Social Security benefits. Assuming that that is fraud is frankly a threat to democracy. USAID is not a money laundering organization, and if you ask questions, you are a threat to democracy. No, listen, I hear you. The Pentagon failed their last 7 audits in a row, but if I mess up on my taxes, I can go to jail. And that's okay. It's not a double standard. It's not. You know, at the end of the day, I hope and I pray that they get Elon out of there. They need to get him out of there and then just get back to extorting us through taxation without transparency. It's democracy. That is how we save it.
All right, so that's the two. Now, there were a couple of straw men, I'll admit, in the Team Red attempt to make fun of Team Blue. I don't hear anyone saying our healthcare system's perfect, and I'm pretty sure the Team Blue people are totally okay with auditing and cutting the spending for the Defense Department. But the rest of that was spot on. All these other like false complaints or grievances, yeah, they're not all a threat to democracy. Having a guy that's not elected access the database for Social Security, that's not a threat to democracy. Everyone who accessed the database pretty much has not been elected. So it's like, not only is it not a threat to democracy, it's the only thing that's been happening your entire life vis-a-vis the database. But okay, I am being deferential. I'm admitting there were 2 straw men in that. But for a 90-second clip with 9 points made in it, most of them were true. Now, let's go back to the first one where they were making fun of MAGA and tell me if you believe in any of this.
I don't mind if groceries are going to be more expensive because that means groceries are going to be more expensive for the libs.
Is that something that anyone believes that's listening to WBAP right now? That we don't care if our groceries are more expensive as long as it's more expensive for our political opposition too? Is that one person's worldview on planet Earth?
Take that, libs.
I'm happy for Elon to have access to the treasury because when I said I don't want foreigners messing with our country, I didn't mean white guys.
Who has said they don't want foreigners messing with their country? I've heard a lot of people say they don't want illegal immigrants messing with their country. I've heard a lot of Team Blue people be concerned about election interference coming from people outside of the country just having beliefs or boosting Facebook posts. But I don't know anyone that says, or MAGA people, foreigners. No, only if they're white. Does anyone say that? Has anyone ever said that? I am against foreigners unless they're white. Show me. I could be wrong. I don't know if there's one Team Red elected official or advocate who's ever said that. So not only just a straw man, it's not something we believe. It's something nobody believes. I continue.
I'm thrilled we're finally feuding with Canada. I've wanted them to be a U.S. territory for days now. Ever since Donald Trump suggested it, I can't get it out of my head.
Okay, I can show you a show that I did last spring where what I was looking at in The Perfect Candidate, and I was talking about adding states. I was talking about adding British Columbia and moving your way east long before Trump said it. I did a speech in college about how we should merge with Canada. It is something that I have said off and on throughout my 20-year career, and I'm not the only one. But for him to pretend like we never thought of that and we're just gung-ho about it because we heard about it a few days ago from Trump and we just accept anything he says. What was the rest of them? There's another little insult stuck in there.
To be a U.S. territory for days now. Ever since Donald Trump suggested it, I can't get it out of my head.
Oh, yeah. So if you want to sound like a idiot Trumper, what do? You affect a fake Southern accent. Isn't that nice? That's not hateful? That's not mean? That's not respecting people's culture or identity or ethnicity or whatever the heck? No, you can make fun of perceived Southern white Team Red males. That's for sure. If you want to sound stupid, just do a Southern accent. Those are the idiots.
I don't care if my taxes are going to be higher as long as taxes are lower for billionaires.
Not one person has ever said that in the history of America. I don't care if my taxes are higher as long as they're lower for billionaires. For one thing, that's not even in the proposal. That's not even in the cards. No one's taxes are slated to go up from the Tax Cut and Jobs Act of 2017, nor if we extend that. So that's not only a thing that's not going to happen, but that's not a worldview anyone has. It's not just a straw man. It's like something that doesn't even exist. Anyway, I continue.
They are the true patriots.
I can't wait to abolish the Department of Education. I didn't get an education, and I turned out great.
Okay, so there's one thing that's not a straw man. Most of us would like to end the Department of Education. But why? Not because it's a huge embarrassing failure, not because it did the exact opposite of its proposed mandate. They were supposed to make scores higher and costs lower. Now scores have gone lower and costs have gone higher. So it's, by any metric, a huge embarrassing failure. No, we want to get rid of it because we're uneducated. Again, if you want to act like your perceived political opposition, Team Red, you're uneducated. You have no idea what's going on. You probably have a Southern accent, and you're just an idiot. You don't have any good ideas there. It's because you're uneducated. You don't know what you're talking about. That's real lovely. That's hilarious. You guys are so nice and not hateful and not condescending and not smarmy or elitist at all. You guys just keep it up. You're doing a great job. You're going to do so good in the midterms. All right. So your Attorney General here in the state of Texas, Ken Paxton, he's investigating DeepSeek, the Chinese AI firm. Well, let's bring in a guy with a little more technology expertise than me and you from PCA Technology Solutions. My next guest, Ted Klauser on the James Show. Real quick, Ted, before we start getting your hot sports opinions on this tech stuff, your background and why we should listen to you on this topic.
Well, thanks for having me. So I have been in the technology space for 30 years, and I've really dealt with the cybersecurity space for the past 10 to 15. And, it's changing every day, right? So every day is a new day. So have to relearn the technology and the risks every single day.
All right. So tell me about this investigation by Ken Paxton. First, why is it being done at the state level and not in D.C.? Is there something specific to state law that overlaps with what they're doing?
Well, I think some of the challenges are that this is a risk for all of the United States, but Texas has taken the step forward to say, hey, we're going to lead. And I think that when we saw Governor Abbott a few weeks ago take the initiative to say we're going to really not allow this on government devices, I think you're seeing the Attorney General here at the state level follow suit.
Yeah. So what is the dangers of DeepSeek?
Well, I think that for any research that's done on DeepSeek, you can realize that it came to market really quick. And the speculation is it came to market because it rode on the coattails of the American companies that did all of the forefront work. And I think the challenge then becomes, how much are we going to allow an app that is being backed by the CCP into our landscape? And I think that at these Texas government levels, the question that everybody needs to ask is why? Why would you use DeepSeek? We have the tools that we need already. So why would we have it here at all?
So if it's such a failed product, why do we need to investigate it? Wouldn't people just naturally stay away from it?
You'd think. Curiosity gets us in trouble, right?
Okay. So we have DeepSeek. I think a lot of people are concerned about how it would compete with the AI companies we have over on our side. You know, the OpenAI, the ChatGPT, Grok.
I think that what we want to do, though, is we really want to stick with what we've already built, what we've got in place. It's just the unknowns that are concerns with DeepSeek. We don't know what information could potentially get into nation states that we don't want to have, and I just don't see why we even want to bring it in the first place.
Yeah, I'm kind of sympathetic to this one because I don't think, government should be owning and controlling major industries or technologies like this. And so if I don't think the American government should be involved in it, I damn sure don't think the Chinese government should be allowed to operate. And it's my same stance on farmland. It's like, can you believe the Chinese government's buying up Texas farmland? No, I can't believe any government is buying up Texas farmland. I don't think the government should be able to buy farmland, not ours, not China. So the other half of this argument is, how are they even allowed to operate in America to begin with?
It's a great question. I don't understand. And you've got to think about it. There are platforms that we have that aren't allowed there. Right. And so I think we just need to be really cautious of what we're opening ourselves up to.
So how do we be cautious? Is there any tips or tricks? I mean, do we need to do anything besides not download the app to be safe from it?
Well, I certainly wouldn't download the app. That would be the best recommendation on the forefront. I would stick with the companies that we know are tried and tested. We are the data. Everything that's free means we are the product. And so I think we need to stick with the ones that we know are at least on the surface or on our side.
Do you have a preference in the other AI options?
Well, ChatGPT is certainly a great solution. I'm a Microsoft Copilot fan. I think that Microsoft has proven themselves for 40 plus years that we can trust them for the most part. And I think it's a great platform to lean into.
Which one is the Open AI? Is that ChatGPT?
Yep.
Okay, just checking. All right, well, thank you very much. How do we find your work outside of the James Show, Ted?
PCATechSolutions.com.
All right, Ted Klauser, I appreciate your expertise here, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to be skipping that app. I'm not going to be getting that one. I do play quite a bit on the Elon Musk one. He has Grok on Twitter. That's I played with that one. I played with ChatGPT a little bit, but I have never played with the Microsoft one. So maybe I'll have to dig into that. Coming up next, some Doge updates. And actually, we're going to respond to some of the critics of what Doge is doing coming up next on The James Show. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Chris Wilbritt's back on The James Show. He's a tax expert here. Welcome back, Chris. We're in tax season, and the reason I'm having you on today is I'm concerned that some of the people listening to WBAP are going to be hit with scams, or at least scamming attempts, and they tend to change every year. Tell me about some of the new tax scams we need to look out for, Chris.
Yeah, the tax scams are one of the favorite methods for identity theft. And the most recent one is based on an announcement in late December from the IRS that it was going to send $2.4 million to a total of 1 million people to cover those who didn't get all their federal stimulus checks during the pandemic.
Oh, I remember that story. Yeah. So some people that were eligible for it didn't fill out the right little line item on their taxes. And so we got to make sure they don't miss that. But that's not really what's happening in these texts to people's phones.
No, they're not. And, the texts are very sophisticated because if you click on the link, it takes you to a site that mimics the official IRS website. And then clicking on it could lead to malware or fraudulent form asking for personal financial information. And that's definitely, something you should absolutely avoid.
Yeah. Well, also, one of the great things to remember going forward, whether it's this scam or some future iteration of a scam, is the IRS does not text you, does it, Chris?
They do not. They only use one mode of communication, and that is the mail. And they don't text, they will not call you, and they will not send you an email.
They won't send you a fax. You won't get anything on your beeper. They have not just progressed to that level of technology yet, has been my observation.
No, they have not. It's almost like that salt mine in Pennsylvania where they're processing retirement forms. They are still 20 or 30 years behind the rest of us.
Yeah, I think technically it's like a limestone cave or something. Yes. That's where they're at. This is what we're dealing with. So, yeah, the scammer is much more sophisticated than the government. So if it looks sophisticated, just assume it's not government.
Exactly. That's a great rule of thumb. If it looks sophisticated, it is not the IRS.
Right. I'd be more likely to believe it if it came in on a pigeon's ankle. Anything other that's new this tax season that's catching a lot of people?
Well, just one of the newest things we've seen is the storefronts, the fake storefronts, where they'll open up a tax preparation service. It'll be open for 2 or 3 months. People come in, think they're getting their tax returns done, and then they'll give them all their personal information, and then one day it'll be closed, and your identity and all your personal information along with it.
Is that widespread? Because I've heard stories of that, but I don't think any of them. Do you know of any of them in Texas?
I haven't heard of any of them specifically in Texas, but they're definitely. I mean, I've heard a number of instances around the country where this has happened. All
right. So what are the classic scams that they've had around for a while that they're still using?
Oh gosh. Well, so what they'll do is they'll steal your identity, and then they'll file a fraudulent tax return where they'll inflate your refund, and then they'll have the refund diverted to a bank account they control. So they'll steal your refund, file a false return, and then put you into the whole process of having to file the affidavit. Spend a lot of time and effort to let the IRS know that you had a fraudulent return filed, and then so it'll probably eat a good 5 or 6 hours of your time.
Chris Wilbritt, how do you find out if the tax guy you're working with is legit?
I what I always say is ask your friends and family for a referral, whether it's one of the national tax services or a local CPA firm. If they've been doing business with them for years and are happy with them, that's usually a great place to start.
What's a good website to reach at? Echelon Financial, is that still your good website?
It is.
All right, Chris Wilbritt, if you need help on your taxes or a tax advisor, You just heard him. Echelonfinancial.com. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Yeah, it's bad enough we have to do taxes and we still have to file them and keep up with all that paperwork. You don't want to get scammed while you're at it. So just heed some advice. The federal government will not send you a text. They will not give you a phone call. They will not give you a fax machine, a beep. I don't even think they have a speak and spell yet. And how much is that coming up lately? All right, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Coming up next, we're going to compare and contrast two viral videos, one from Team Red making fun of Team Blue and one from Team Blue making fun of Team Red. And you just tell me which one resonates more with you. We'll find out in 4 minutes on The James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.